I remember lying in bed for days, sometimes an entire weekend, just moping, crying, feeling really crappy, really bad, replaying events in my mind, you know, this thing that maybe something that just happened recently and I could have done differently, and it's something I'd done in the past and I should have learned by now. I should not be making that mistake, and I should have said this, I should have done that. And I just reminisce over all, or a number of past times when I did the same thing, made the same mistake, and I would just fall into a state of depression. And I would stay there for days. I would be in bed. Sometimes I wouldn't leave the bed. 2 days in bed, eating bread, you know, dry bread. Sometimes just move into, I wouldn't shower. I would just go, urinate, maybe use my bowels, maybe. And I would just be in bed, just trying to figure out, just thinking, ruminating, trying to think, how do I get over this, and sometimes I'd feel stuck. Thoughts of suicide would arise. I would feel like just ending it, and this started when I was about 18, 19, and back then it was every week. Every week I would feel like killing myself, and persons around me didn't know. I mean, back then I was just so afraid of being seen as insane and losing it. I was so fearful of losing my mind or being seen as someone who was losing his mind, because growing up you hear about guys, you see guys on the streets, people would say, Daman, I said that one was how bright in school. But check that one now, so that would, when I was going through depression, that would always come to my mind, that I don't want to be one of these guys that people be like, "What, that man, Missy was how bright in school," but and so on. So, I went through that for years, over a decade, just high, low, falling into a state of depression, feeling suicidal, and so on. And the shift, the breakthrough occurred, I guess, through reading, studying, learning about affirmations, learning about positive thinking, and so on, learning about the placebo effect and all these things. I I I I started to understand that I could separate myself from the depression. I started to create that separation between myself and the depression. So that was the first step, I believe, towards overcoming the depression. Understanding that this was just something that I was going through. This was just something happening within my body and my mind. And I could separate myself from this because I am the image and likeness of God. And God is love, peace, joy, freedom. And since I am the image and likeness of God, then I am not depressed. This is not me. This is just something I'm going through. This is something I could separate myself from. This is something I can overcome. And that was the first major shift for me, understanding that this is me, and there's the depression. And right now we mixed up, but I could unmix myself and overcome this depression and completely dissolve it. And that was the first major shift for me. And beyond that, it was just doing different things to continually rise and rise and rise out of depression. So my intention with this video is to help you who may be going through depression, or to somebody just to help them to understand that this is something, that this is not you. This is just something you're moving through, something you're dealing with, something you're going through, something happening within your body and your mind. And it's something ultimately that you can overcome. Understand that you are the image and likeness of the Creator. You are love, peace, joy, freedom. You are that. And therefore this depression is just something that you are going through, something you can overcome. And create that separation between yourself and the depression. Once you do that, you see that's something that you can overcome, something you could remove from your system, then that begins your conquest of it. So create that separation between self and depression, and understand that this is something that it's almost like just an illness moving through your body, and you create that separation between yourself and it, and see, and it is a challenge. It is an obstacle, and it is something that could be so painful, right? I know what it's like, and anybody who was ever been through depression, ever been depressed, know what it's like when you don't feel like doing anything, and you just feel incapacitated, if that's the word. And but once you start to create that separation between yourself and the depression, you see it as almost just another, like almost like a physical illness which you could be healed from, right? And you could take certain steps. Once you create that separation between yourself and it, then you realize that you can overcome this, you could beat this, you could move through this, you could nullify this and remove this from your being. And and the realization of, or the creation of, that separation could be a massive first step for you, as it was for me. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please share it with someone who could benefit from it. Give it a like to support the channel and the movement. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know if you are suffering with depression, or if you ever did, and what your first step was to overcome it. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, right? Because the Firm Life is all about elevation of the people. Okay? Again, thank you so much for watching. Love, peace, and bliss to you. Guidance and protection to you. Firm Life. Peace and love. One love.